up, you guys? My name is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. So, I don't think anybody's surprised. I have a book haul. It's actually been a little bit since I bought some books. Like new books. The last time I only bought like Goodwill books. Those are used books. These are new books. There's a difference. Okay, that's what I tell myself to make myself feel better. It's a pretty big haul. This is not all in one day. I will have you know, not all in one day. A lot of these I bought like a big bulk haul on Amazon of books recently, like paying for it like over time or whatever. But I'm also waiting on one book. It hasn't come in yet. It got lost, so then I had to cancel the delivery, call them, get a replacement. Should be here August 6th. It's Daisy Hates, which is the second book in the Magnolia Park series, or Magnolia Parks universe. So I'm very, very excited. But this is my book haul. Yeah. This is a lot of books. I actually bought some of them like over the course of a few weeks. And then I actually forgot that I bought them recently and didn't show them in a haul. I was like, how long have I had these books? I didn't show them in a haul. But there's like sometimes where I'll just get one book here and there, and then it's like, oh, I'm not gonna do a haul every time I get like one book. But maybe I should. Maybe I should. We'll see. But, yeah, so this is my books. I'm so excited, you guys. I can't wait to start reading a lot of these. I actually started reading one of them. And I'm gonna be recording a July wrap-up, actually right after this video. I'm going to be recording it, so I'll be wearing the same thing. Don't we love when I do that? But I'm currently uploading my Magnolia Parks review. I did a review and like a mini vlog in it, a mini like reading vlog, because I had a lot to say. I will say that it ended up being a lot of like telling you guys what the story was about and not like as much of my actual thoughts. But if you want to know like my true I have part of it, but I did like this whole rant on TikTok. If you want to put my TikTok name here, and you can check that video out. Okay, I'm talking too fast. But you can check that video out and see exactly like everything that I was feeling. I do say how I feel about the book in there. I just realized that it was a lot of like trying to explain what happened so that I could tell you guys how I felt. Because I feel like I couldn't really explain like what I was feeling unless you understood what happened in the book. So yeah, do with it as you will. It's a pretty long video, but I really enjoyed that book, so I had a lot to say. I decided to do a book haul. I decided to buy a bunch of these books because these books that I bought are a lot of like the second and third in certain series that I have. I have finished a few of the books that I need like the second book of. So right now I've been trying to only buy like the first book of a series and then see if I actually like the series and then buy the rest of it, because I will say I have been very, very surprised at some of the recommendations that I took, and I didn't end up enjoying them. And I'm like, you know what? It's a good thing that I didn't buy the entire series, because I wouldn't have kept reading them. I gotta say. So I think that's working out for me. But now I needed to buy like the second and third of all the books and stuff that I've already finished. So these are the first books that I'm going to show you guys. This is part of the This Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. This is It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have a Summer. I actually just read this book a couple days ago. I just finished it. And honestly, you guys, I could not believe how fast I read these books. Like, I am not a fast reader. Not a fast reader. If you loan me a book, be prepared to like not get that book back for a while, because I am a very slow reader. I've actually had to change my policy that I had said that I was not going to do. I said I was not going to be in the middle of 2 books, but I have so many books on my TBR and on my little bookshelf over here that 1 book is not going to do. I need to have something else to read. I don't know. Also, I think it's just me like forcing myself that like I can't read anything else, because I'll get in like moods where I'm like, I don't want to read this. Like, I want to keep reading it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I want to like DNF the book. It's just that like in that moment, I'm not in the mood to read that particular book. Like currently, I'll say I'm reading Powerless, and great book. I'm annotating, highlighting, all that stuff. It's amazing. But there's some moments where I just don't want to read a fantasy. I want to read a romance. I want to read something a little more serious. Like I want to read like certain things. So I guess they call it like mood reading or whatever. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood. So now I'm like kind of flip-flopping sometimes in between books. I'm keeping it at 2 books. Like I have my main book that I'm trying to get through, which is gonna maybe be like the longer books. It's gonna take me a little bit longer to get through. Like Powerless is a long book for me. I don't know if it's a long book for anybody else, but it's a long book for me. So like in the middle of reading that, I'm also gonna be reading something else, like things that are like a little bit smaller. These are the perfect example. The chapters in these books are so short. They're so short, and this is such an easy read because it's young adult. Like I said, I am not a fast reader, but I read these so fast. Like I started the first book at like 9 p.m. one night, and then I could only read for like maybe an hour or 2, because then my mom started talking to me about something and I couldn't read for the rest of the day. And then the next day I read for several hours, put it down, read for a few more hours before I went to sleep, and I finished the book. And so basically it took me like a day and a half, I guess. Well, no, because it wasn't like a full day and a half. It was basically, it would have taken me the whole day to finish the book. It took me the day. It took me a day and a few hours of the previous day to finish the book. So they are very, very short. So far, very good. I did just hear a review earlier that concerns me a little bit. Concerns me about this book. Let me know whose team you're on, even if you read the book. Are you team Jeremiah or are you team Conrad? Because I gotta tell you, I can't make up my mind right now. Well, I have my thoughts, but I'll get into that whenever I review them. I think I'm gonna review these 3 like together. So I want to read like all 3 of them and then, you know, review them and tell you guys my thoughts and everything. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Okay, going with Jenny Han. I also got the other 2 To All the Boys I've Loved Before books in this trilogy. I am obsessed with these movies. When I saw them, when they first came out, I was just like obsessed. And I just love Laura Jean. I love Peter. Ugh, I just love them. I love them. And then I found the first book like so long ago, before I even started like my whole reading thing. And I bought it. And then I was like, you know what? I know that I already love the movies. I'm probably going to love the books. So I just decided to buy both of them. The only thing is that all 3 of my books now are different covers. Like the first one is like a special edition, like kind of looks like a journal type book. And then this one is like the original cover, I'm assuming. And then this is like the Netflix cover. So that is a little frustrating, but I mean, whenever you look at them this way, like, it doesn't look like that out of place. But yeah, I got these 2 books, and I'm really excited to get to read the book and see how it differs from the movie. Like, what extras did they have to take out of the movie, because they can't put everything in, you know. I want to watch the Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know if it's a series, if they made it into a series, or if they made it into a movie, but I know that they did something with that, so I want to watch that, but I want to read the books first and see how it's different. So I also bought the second book to Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After. I did want to say that I didn't realize that it was suggested to read the Caraval series first, and then read Once Upon a Broken Heart. I will say, I mean, I understood everything that was going on for the most part, like, with ease. Like, it didn't feel like, oh wait, am I missing something? Like, I'm a little confused. Like, I didn't feel anything like that. And I just really wanted to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, because this storyline just sounded so good to me. I just wanted to read it. And so when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this book. And then I saw that you're supposed to read the other ones first. And I actually have Caraval. Like, I actually have the book. But I didn't know that she was supposed to read that series before. So I'll be reading it out of order. But I got the second one, and I am so excited, because I can't wait to see, like, what they do with the story, like, where it's gonna go from here. And I was seeing this, was it a TikTok, or I think it was like a short, like a YouTube short, that was like books where he's obsessed with her, and this one was on there, and I was like, oh really? Is it now? So I'm so excited to see what happens. And then I'm gonna need the third one, and then I'll be done. And then I'll have to go into Caraval and see, maybe it'll put some pieces together. But I'm so excited to start this book. This one is by Jessa Hastings. This is actually, like, I picked this up at Barnes & Noble one day. Well, that's not where I bought this book, but it's where I first heard of it. I picked it up at Barnes & Noble because it's the same author that wrote Magnolia Parks. And I was like, oh, like, is this part of Magnolia Parks? Like, I wasn't sure. But I picked it up, and then it just sounded so interesting. And it was like, growing up, Daphne always knew that Peter Pan would come for her, the way he'd come for her mother and her grandmother Wendy before that. The Darling Girls. Their stories are all the same, the forever young boy at their window after their 13th birthday, and the shimmering magical land behind a star. When Peter doesn't show for Daphne until she's 17, inexplicably full grown, and with no excuse for his tardiness, Daphne doesn't know what to think. Still, she has always been told that Peter Pan is her destiny. It's beyond choice to take his hand and leap into the stars no matter what comes next. But in Neverland, Peter's true colors begin to show. One moment he's making Daphne's heart flutter, the next he's forgotten about her entirely. So when Daphne stumbles into the path of Jameson Hook, the pirate son of Peter's nemesis, she let herself get swept up in his vulgar charm despite the warning signs. But both boys are troubled, both have dangerous secrets about the strange fantasy land they call home, and if she loses her heart to either one, Daphne just might lose herself too. I don't know about you, but that sounds very good to me. That sounds very interesting. I'm a little worried because I tried to read Hook by, what's her name? Emily McIntyre. She does like she's like Wretched, Scarred, Hook. So it's not retellings of Disney stories, which is what I thought it was. It's using elements of those Disney stories, if that makes sense. So, like for example, in Hook, it's, his name is Jameson Hook, I believe, and he meets Wendy, and Wendy's dad's name is Peter. I don't know. It was weird. I did not enjoy that book. I DNF'd it. Whatever. Yeah. So I'm a little scared going into it because of that, but I feel like this is going to be so good, you know, because it's actually going along with the story of, it's not like really changing up too much the story of Peter Pan. Like, it still is like they go to Neverland, all that stuff. So I think this should be interesting. You know, I'm really excited about it. This is long awaited. There's another one that's long awaited that I actually have finished, Betting on You, and I still don't have the physical copy because everywhere that I look for it, it's like I always think, oh, let me get it on Amazon, but then I'm like, nah, like it'll be like $13 or something like that. And I'm like, no, like if I'm gonna get a book, I'm gonna get something that like I don't already have. But then I find it at like Barnes and Noble, and it's like $20 and I'm like, I should just get it on Amazon, and then I never get it on Amazon, and it's just a whole back and forth thing. But I finally got The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I was so excited to get this book because Better Than the Movies is one of my favorite books. Like, I still think about that book. I still love it. It's great. And so when I also had read Betting on You, I thought that book was really good. So I assume that The Do-Over is going to be great. Lynn Painter, I actually really like her books. Everything is like pretty simple, pretty easy to understand, everything. So I believe it's also like YA. Basically, this girl, Emily, keeps reliving the same disastrous, as she says, Valentine's Day. So I don't know, that sounds interesting to me. It sounds like it's going to be a good book. I'm excited to read it, and of course I'll be doing a review. The next book I am very excited about. I've heard so much about it, and I was a little shocked. I didn't know it was this thick. To be honest, every time I've seen like somebody read it, I don't know, it looked like a smaller book. But I got The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and I am very excited about this book. It is a historical fiction about two sisters during the World War II times. Says The Nightingale tells the stories of two sisters separated by years and experience, by ideas, passion, and circumstances, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in Germany, occupied, war-torn France. So, sounds great. The people that have read it have cried. I don't know if I'll cry, but we'll see what happens. I've heard that it's also like dual timeline, I believe, or like part of it is one timeline and then the next part of it is like real time. So like it's like past and present. That's what I've heard. So I'm not too sure because I haven't read it for myself yet, but I am definitely excited to give this book a try. So the other day when I went to Barnes & Noble, I was so excited because I found Go Ask Alice. I read this book in 8th grade, and I kid you not, you guys, this book changed my life. Like, I will never be the same after, I was never the same after reading this book. This book is so intense. I can't remember how old she is exactly, but it's basically Alice. It's anonymous because it is based off of a real girl's diary entries. Alice is a typical teenager, but she ends up going down a spiral of drugs, and it talks a lot about the things that she goes through, a lot of really hard, difficult topics, which is actually why we read it in the 8th grade, because they wanted us to see the reality of drugs and alcohol and deciding to do things way too young, and you can't take them back, and then it takes you down a really bad hole. And it is such a good book, you guys. Like, I would suggest reading this, and I would suggest reading The Way I Used to Be, because although it does deal with very harsh topics and it's not like gonna be a feel-good book, like I cried at the end of this book in the 8th grade. I remember I was at lunch and I finished the book and I was like sobbing because it was just so like, I felt like I knew her. Like, I felt like I knew Alice. I felt like, you know, I knew who she was. I felt like she was part of me. Like, she was part of my family. Like, I felt like I knew her. And like, it's just, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, but it's so necessary. Like, it's so necessary for like, I feel like kids to read this book, but also for like adults to read this book, to like understand that, like, I said it whenever I reviewed The Way I Used to Be. I feel like it's important for adults to also read these books, because when your kids or teenagers start to act a certain way, like, I feel like most parents are like, oh my gosh, they're just annoying. They're just annoying teenagers. They're just so annoying. They're so irritating. They're so this, they're so that. Kids go through stuff. No matter how much adults want to deny it, no matter how much adults want to be like, what do you go through? You're a kid. You go through a lot as a kid. And I feel like books like this, books like The Way I Used to Be, are just so like eye-opening. It was even eye-opening for me as like a teenager reading it, because I didn't have that crazy like party lifestyle. I didn't do all of that. But, you know, I had my own things that I was going through. But, you know, just seeing like what she got open to, what, you know, choices that she made led her down this certain path that she then like ends up in, like, it's crazy to see like how she starts out. Literally the way she starts out sounded like my journals back then. Like, I felt like I related so much to her at the very beginning, and then like just as time went on, it was like, wow, like just the drastic difference, like the drastic changes that come into her life based on the certain decisions that she makes is actually insane. So I'm very excited to reread this book with adult eyes and kind of see like what I get out of it that's different. I did get the 50th anniversary edition, which is so cool. It's, I don't know if you can tell, like, it's this kind of like I don't know, material. It almost seems like a little journal. They did have like the regular version as well, but they were the same price, so I was like, might as well get the 50th anniversary version. The next book I bought was, I took the cover off, or the dust jacket or whatever. I have a really bad habit of doing that. I know, like, my mom tells me all the time, why do you do that? Why do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just think that they look better without the dust jacket. Like, look at that. That's kind of like iconic, right? Okay, I don't know. Anyways, so this is Powerful by Lauren Roberts, the novella to Powerless. I got it recently and I was so excited because I am currently reading Powerless, like I said. So now I have the novella to go to, and then I'm gonna have to get Reckless. And then I was so excited because I was looking on Amazon and I saw that the next book is Fearless, which is coming out in April of next year. So very excited. Then I got this book. I have the book 1,000 Boy Kisses. Currently have not read it yet, but I heard that it was really good. So I decided to pick up this book. I did not know until I just was reading the back that this is the second book to 1,000 Boy Kisses. Spoiler alerts on the back of this book. And I didn't realize until I was like, oh crap, I haven't even read the first book. But when I saw it and I saw that it looked exactly like the book that I have, I was like, oh, this is probably the second book. I didn't even read the back. I just picked it up because I was like, that looks like the other book that I have. Maybe it's the second one. I just realized whenever I picked it up that I didn't even know what it was about. But I just read the back. And then after I read it, I was like, wait, did I just give away the whole story? And then I went back to read the back of A Thousand Boy Kisses, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it does tell like what happened in that book. So I'm not gonna say what this book is about, but this is the second book to A Thousand Boy Kisses, which I have not started yet, but I'm going to read for sure. This is the next book. As you can see from my bookmark, I also bought this at Barnes & Noble the other day. It's All the Princesses. So iconic. I love it. But yeah, so this book is the second book that I'm also reading. So I'm currently reading Powerless, and I'm reading You've Reached Sam. I heard that somebody said that this book was like really, really sad. But it says a heartfelt novel about love and loss and what it means to say goodbye. So far, honestly, right out the gate, it's been like heart-wrenching. She is making me a little mad already. But it's like I have to remember that she's grieving and that everybody grieves differently. I don't want to get into like a whole like review because I've only read like the first. I'm on chapter 3 currently, and it had, how many chapters does it have? I don't even know. It has 18 chapters plus a prologue and an epilogue, so 20, as about 20 chapters, and so far very good. So far very, very good. I am loving it, but also heartbroken at the same time. Just dealing with grief like right off the bat. So I guess that could be like a trigger warning for you. It can be kind of intense, like the things that she's feeling, but nothing compared to like if he had been with me so far. But I don't know. I'm only on, you know, the 3rd chapter, so we'll see what happens. But I picked up this book, I read the back of it, and I was like, I need to read that. I need to read that. Julie moves to this town. She ends up dating this guy Sam, and he dies. That's not a spoiler, it's on the back of the book. He dies, everything changes. She skips the funeral. She's trying to like rid her life of him. That's the part that was making me very angry. And then at one point she decides to call his phone. And when she calls his phone, he answers. And she's like, what? You know, and you're supposed to be gone. Like, what's going on? And so at the end of the back, it says the connection is temporary, but hearing Sam's voice makes Julie fall for him all over again, and with each call it becomes harder to let him go. Okay, so like intense. Like I just can't wait to continue to read it and see what happens. But yeah, like I'm really interested in what's gonna happen in this book. The last book, I also took the dust jacket off of this book, but this is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. I don't really know how to say her last name, to be honest. I heard this lady talking on the breakdown with Maya Bialik's podcast. And whenever she was just talking, and then she said that she wrote a book, I was like, like something resonated with me and like the way that she was talking and stuff that she was saying. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to check it out. And actually, so there's the book, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, and then she has the Maybe You Should Talk to Someone journal, and then she also has the Maybe You Should Talk to Someone workbook. So I want to like get the workbook. I want to get the journal, all that stuff. Maybe this will help me, girl. Maybe this will help me. Okay, so it's one day Lori is a therapist who helps her patients in Los Angeles, helps patients in her Los Angeles practice. The next, a crisis causes her world to come crashing down. Enter Wendell, the quirky but seasoned therapist whose office she suddenly lands in. With his balding head, cardigan, and khakis, he seems to have come straight from the therapist's central casting, yet he will turn out to be anything but. As she explores the inner chambers of her patients' lives, a self-absorbed Hollywood producer, a young newlywed diagnosed with terminal illness, a senior citizen threatening to end her life on her birthday if nothing gets better, and a 20-something who can't stop hooking up with the wrong guys, she finds that the question they are struggling with are the ones that she is now bringing to Wendell. With startling wisdom and humor, she invites us into her world as both a clinician and patient, examining the truths and fictions we tell ourselves and others as we teeter on the tightrope between love and desire, meaning and morality, guilt and redemption, terror and courage, hope and change. You Should Talk to Someone is revolutionary in its candor, offering a deeply personal yet universal tour of hearts and minds, providing the rarest of gifts, a boldly revealing portrait of what it means to be a human, and a disarmingly funny, illuminating account of our own mysterious lives and power to transform them. Hopefully you didn't tune me out after I just read that whole thing. But yeah. So it seems like a good book. And when I was hearing her on the podcast, like, I liked the way that she was talking. I liked the things that she said. So I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm going to enjoy this book. And I like when books have, like, workbooks that go with them, or books that have, like, journals that go with them and stuff. And I also like that it's written by a therapist. So that's why I'm saying, like, maybe it'll help me. And yeah. So I like it. I think it's gonna be a good book. But yeah, you guys, that was my little book haul for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to obviously be reading those books, doing reviews, continue to get books, continue to do all that stuff. And I will be back with you guys for maybe a book review, maybe a haul. We'll see. Maybe I'll switch it up from the book content. We just never know. We never know what's going to happen on this channel. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked it. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.